So on today's tutorial, we're teaching on how to cut a filler cap. So the first step is you're going to slant 8, which I just did, and the total head measurement for this person is 22.7 divided by 2. So in order to avoid mistakes, I'm going to round it up to 23. So from the first point, you put your 23, second point, you put your 23, then you get a straight ruler and you draw your straight lines connecting each dot. So it has given you these diagonal lines. So you trim it off and cut 4 extra pieces the same size. You're going to do it like so. You cut it in 4 places. So after cutting it, this is what you're going to get, and you are going to join them this way. The way I'm doing it, this is how you join them this way on the machine. So let's go to the machine and join them. So on the machine, you are going to sew it this way. You're going to sew them all like this in this same direction. So after you sew it, this is what you are going to have. We're going to have a round shape. Then you separate it at the center now. Then you go to the table, you pick your gum that you're going to use to get the head size now, depending on how you want it. But me, I want to use the height of the cap should be 3. So that's I'm using 3 for mine. I'm using 3 for mine. Then you measure the length, you measure the head size, that is 22.7. 22.7. So after measuring that, after measuring your 22.7, make sure you measure it up and down of the line so as to get a straight line. Then you connect all your dotted lines together to make a straight line. To make a straight line, after you do that, you get your scissors and cut it off. So that's what I'm going to do now. Trim it and make sure everything is straight. So after you are done cutting, this is what you're going to have. Then you pick up your joint ashoke that you have already. You gum it. After you gum it, you get your interfacing, whatever you want to use. Either use the material or use landing, but me, I prefer using this normal landing. You can also use ABBA landing if that's what you can access. So you press it well for it to stick to the cloth. So after cutting all that, you go to the machine and you join the main fabric to your lining. So after you join your lining to your cap, you then top stitch. You stop stitching on the lining, not on the material. Stop stitching on the lining this way. So after the top stitching, this is what you're going to have. Then you bend the edge of your gum stay just to give it a good look. Instead of making it look straight, you match it on top this way just to give it a fine look after the whole sewing. So you can do it like this. You can sew it all through till you reach the end. So when you are done, you make sure you cut all your thread as you sew. After that, you bend the edges of your gum just to enable you to sew the exact head measurement. You understand? To get the edges of your gum in order to avoid matching your collar gum. Then you sew it from the center till you get down. You sew it to the up also till you get down. So after you sew this is all you have. You go back to the table, you open press, you cut all your thread, then you open press the allowance so that it will lie down well, so you'll be able to turn the cap comfortably. You're able to cut the cap comfortably. So this is how you're going to turn it. You cover it, you turn it this way. So after you're done, you go back to your machine, then you sew the edges of the cap just to hold your lining from moving, from coming out or going, or from coming out and going in. So you top stitch it. Make sure you top stitch it well. Make sure your sewing are straight so that to give you a neat finishing. So this is it. You follow it gradually to have a neat finishing. So you flip it out. You flip it out gradually. Then you straighten it. So this is our finished work. We're almost finishing. So at this point, you are going to lie it down and measure the height at which you want your cap to be. So I love my cap being short because I observed that it gives a better finishing. So I mostly use 7.5 for my length of my caps, so that I use 1/2 inch in covering the top of my cap. And this FILA cap I'm making is a FILA cap that has a square cover head, not the round head. So after that, we are going to top stitch the lining. A temporary stitch is just to hold the lining together with the ashoke fabric to give us a neat finish when we're closing the top of the FILA. Like I said, it's a square FILA, so we have to hold the line with the material to avoid shaking. So this is what we have. So let's go to the table now and measure the other side. So now on the table, we're about cutting the top cover. So we just make a straight line. Then remember, I said it's a square head. So from here, we said the head is 23. So we divide it by 4. Since a square has 4 sides, that's why we're dividing it by 4. And if we divide it by 4, it's going to give us 6. So you make sure that your squares, your 4 sides, are 6 plus half inch allowance on both sides. So you'll be having a total number of like half on one side, half on one, of like 7 inch on every side with your sewing allowance to get your perfect square. So after doing this, you cut it off. After you cut it off, then you go to the machine and join it. So let's go to the machine now. So on the machine, this is what we have. You bring your lining, same thing. You temporarily sew the cover to your lining also, just to avoid it from shaking. So you sew it round to hold it to the lining. Then you trim off the excess lining away. You trim them off to have a neat finishing of the edges. So after you trim it, this is what you're going to have. Then now you pick your cap. After picking up your cap, you locate the center line where you joined the cap from, and you also mark a center from any side. Then from there, you are going to match it like so. Carefully, you don't rush it. Carefully match it from the center to one end of the cap, to the other end of the cap, and to the other end of the cap until you complete your 4 sides of your sewing. And if you cut it well with your allowance and everything, it's going to give you a perfect square when you are done. So at this point, I'm done sewing it, and this is me trying to turn the cap to the good side. So after you turn, before turning the cap, you go and weave the edges of where you joined if you have an interlocking machine. But if you don't have, you can use a lighter to burn off the edges of the ashoke to avoid it fraying out. So this is the end result. You see it, we have a perfect square from the top, a perfect square top. So from here we'll go to the table to iron it. So this is the ironing process. You exactly where you join it should be under where the cap is going to bend towards, so that the bending is going to cover the joining, so nobody will see the joining. So this is how you iron it. You follow it, you iron it, you cool it, you cool the iron, you follow it with your iron, you press it gradually, you press it well in order to get a good shape. You make sure that you set and arrange the shape of it, of the cap, to bring out the cap the way you want. So this is it. You press it this way, you press it well, you press it well. If your iron is very hot, you can use pieces on it to avoid the caps from shining. So you turn it to the other side also. You make sure you set everything for it to bring out what you want. So after your ironing and everything, this is the end result of our FILA caps. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.